If you're a small church, you can punch well above your weight when it comes to digital marketing, and that can mean more visitors and ultimately more members. My name is Chris Jackson, though a lot of people know me as the SEO priest. I've helped hundreds of churches with their digital marketing, with a particular emphasis on search engine optimization. Today I'm talking with Danny Hyde, pastor of Oceanside United Reformed Church in Oceanside, California. Danny has been working hard on his church's SEO, and the results have been pretty remarkable. They're now seeing about twice as many visitors as they normally would, and some of those visitors have gone on to become members. Danny walks us through what he's been doing, what actually worked, and what other small churches can learn from it. He's also just a really likable guy, so I think you'll enjoy the conversation. And stick around until the end because I'll break down some tactical SEO tips that almost nobody else on the internet is talking about and that you can actually put to work at your church. This is Chris Jackson, also known as the SEO priest, and we're here with Dr. Danny Hyde from Oceanside United Reformed Church. And Danny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have been the pastor here at the Oceanside URC since 2000. We were a church plant back in the day. Yeah, I got my PhD at the Free University of Amsterdam a while back, written a bunch of books. I encourage people to find us, oceansideurc.org. But yeah, my personal website is danielrhyde.com. That's where my books and articles and sermons and teachings and whatnot. There's a blog on there and that sort of thing where people can find out more about me and learn about me. But married, 4 kids, 2 college kids, 2 high school kids. Yeah, just a son of Southern California, loving the sand and the surf and the sun.
Awesome. And Danny has been like one of my best students, and you've not spent $1 with my agency yet, which is all good, all fine, but you've utilized a lot of my educational content and so on. And so I'd say probably one of my most enthusiastic students here when it comes to digital marketing and especially when it comes to SEO. So in any case, Danny was on with me, I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago or so. So we'll link to that in the show notes here.
That was like for Christmas, I think, or Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
Which had a huge turnout. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had double what you would normally expect for Christmas Eve. And what I understand is that you've had something similar happening over the summer here.
Yeah, for summer as well. Just a huge amount of people. And we've always had a website since 2000. We've always had sermons online. We've always had, we'll do some Facebook ads or event stuff. But then what we did was we actually just refreshed our website. It's the same domain, but just basically made a new site on top of the old one. And then we have a guy in the congregation that he works for a different company, but what he focuses on is Google ad grants for nonprofits. So that's a whole long thing, but which I can explain more if people want to know. But yeah, he does that for us. You have to get C3 and all that stuff if you're cool with that. And then basically Google gives you $10K a month, up to $10K a month in ads. And on top of your own ad spending, ad buys, you get that huge boost. And yeah, we started slowly putting some videos out there, advertising those on Facebook, Instagram, not YouTube. Those just go out to the ether, but more targeted stuff locally. And then it started to get things going. We started to get old links on our site that had been broken or whatever, reestablished. And then people were helping us link to our site. And then, then last year was like, I think when I stumbled across your Twitter page, was the Christmas Eve, hey, do an old school press release. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And I did that, sent it out, got 6 or 8 local, like all the media locally linked to our event. A lot of them are just event pages, like local event pages, like for the San Diego Union Tribune newspaper. But and we had some ads as well, like some ad buys for like our particular service, like to our particular local zip codes and whatever on Facebook. And then, it was crazy. I think I mentioned that last time. It was like probably 200 people. And we have a decent sized sanctuary, but it was like 200 people, 200 plus people, which was awesome. And then we're like, wow, that was great. And then we kind of did the same thing again for Easter. Set up a separate page on the site, like you had mentioned, the press release thing, got a bunch of links, all the same people linked it again. Yeah, and that was great. Lots more people as well. And I'm sure everybody out there as a pastor knows, okay, Christmas, Easter, you focus on those days, you get people to come, they don't really come back. maybe a few trickle in, but it was more kind of getting used to doing those particular kinds of website, like web page, all the links, the work it takes to establish those. And now those pages are live, and it's just going to be so much easier this year to just go back to those, and
Just
they're already
update your
there.
dates and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're already there, right? Now we're established now in terms of having those two services. And then on ChatGPT or on Gemini or just normal like web search, I search up Easter, Oceanside, or Christmas in Carlsbad or whatever. And there's of course the big mega churches, but then there's us. We're right there in the same little pond. So anyways, yeah. And then the same thing for summer, we've just been focusing on the same thing, like getting certain things out there, like getting a lot of links from other ministries and churches just established between our church and theirs, links here and there. And the same little, we don't spend a whole lot of money, but a little bit of money on ads. And then the Google stuff kind of kicks it up. So yeah. And then I think you had mentioned like recently, which you had mentioned in the past, hey, these kind of generic topics. I just pulled one up on our website. Why does God allow suffering? What happens after death? Bible verses for anxiety and fear. They're for like us confessional Protestants. We're like, oh, there's no way I'm going to talk about that stuff. It's too even jellyfish. It's too weak sauce. There's no law and gospel to that. So I did 4 or 5 little like kind of simple blog posts, like 800 words. And I used like a lot of material from old sermons, just pulled some verses up. And those 4 pages are like the biggest searched and found pages on our website. Yeah, which is crazy. And I just saw that on Twitter. You put that out there. Hey, someone's looking for a whatever on whatever topic. I think it was some simple topic. And you're like, hey, people in your church will pop up, right? And now the AI just is like scanning everything. And you might be linked on that where they can click those links. It is a labyrinth of once you go down you can't get out of it. But like, there's so many things that I've been telling other pastors, you can't do everything, especially like small church pastors. We can't do everything, but do a couple of things really well.
Hey, this is Chris Jackson, the SEO priest. And if you're enjoying what I'm giving you in this video, then let me just encourage you to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of my content.
And so for me, like the really well is our Google business profile, just making sure like we have lots of backlinks on our site to other like reputable places. Hey, write a few articles for like Ligonier Ministries or like whatever. If your denomination has a website or a magazine or like a newspaper or a podcast or a blog or whatever, write a few things, get a few things out there, and then pump them out, get everybody to like them for you, share them for you, put them on their sites. And then all of a sudden, this summer has been crazy. We're a beach town, so we definitely get like vacationers, but I was telling our council, like, yeah, we'll get 10 people a Sunday, like who are on vacation, maybe 5 this week, 10 next, maybe 20, probably 10 people on average a Sunday who are on vacation. But this year, we've probably every Sunday, we've had at least 20 people like on vacation.
Wow.
Who've just found us, right? Like not even from like Reformed churches necessarily, just from all kinds of churches. And the great thing is like in all that kind of mass of people who are coming, like there's more and more local people who are just like, yeah, we found you on YouTube, or hey, we saw this blog post, or we saw this ad pop up, or just we searched and your church popped up. And I just received like our first member, like a 40 or late 30s dad who like fell away from church for 30 years. It's crazy to say that 30 years. And the guy's like, he's still young, but for 30 years, didn't go to church and had a baby, started questioning life, asking questions, and just went on ChatGPT and like just started like typing in ideas and like getting things back. And basically he was like, at the end of this sort of thought process I was having over a course of time, I just typed in, hey, chat, like what kind of church should I go to? And it said, based on what he was like typing in, whatever, like, oh, you should go to a Reformed church, a historical Protestant church. And he's like, where can I find that? And it popped on ChatGPT. It told him to go to Oceanside URC. Yeah. And then he shows up and it's like, I just received him as a communicant member. Right. And I'm sure like people out there are starting to experience that more, who you put a little bit of thoughtfulness and time into it. So a whole bunch of stuff. So that's
very cool.
Whatever you want to dive into.
Yeah. So let's talk about because to me, that's really where the rubber hits the road, because the visitors The out-of-town visitors are nice, right? And you
Yep.
want those people, and you want the Christmas and Easter people, right? It all works together, and it's an indication that what you're doing is actually working. But where the rubber hits the road, to me, is that new communicant member, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
dad who hasn't been in church for 30 years and coming back, and who knows about the change that this will affect in
Oh
his
yeah.
entire family for
Yep.
generations,
Yep.
basically, right? Because like part of my story is, yeah, my some missionizing LCMS pastor in Topeka, Kansas, knocked on a door. And from that,
Old
there's
school.
been,
Yeah.
yeah, this is back. This is not,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
my, that's this is my grandmother
Oh God. Okay.
back in the 40s when my granddad was away at war. And from that, multiple generations in the
Wow.
church,
Wow.
multiple clergy, all that kind of stuff. So, really cool. So, yeah, let's talk about the AI for a second,
Yeah.
because that's something that a lot of people, I think, have a little bit of confusion about, because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, AI is going to replace SEO, or AI SEO or GEO is different than SEO. But really, when you break it down to it, it's all the same.
Yep.
And so essentially what's happening is the SEO is a foundational layer underneath the AI. And so someone who's on ChatGPT, they may not ever hit your Google business profile.
Yep.
They may not ever hit your website, right? But in order for you to have shown up in AI, you have to do the Google business profile
Yep.
stuff, and you have to do the website stuff, because these are the source of truth for AI,
Yep.
especially,
Yep.
by the way, the Google business profile is really, AI loves that, because it has no idea what is hitting when it hits your website. Every website is different, but everything's really
Yep.
like on a Google business profile. Everything is really,
Standardized.
regularized,
Yeah.
standardized.
Yeah.
So AI loves Google business profiles. You may actually find actual human users hitting your properties to be less, but here's the thing, is that what people are finding in the digital marketing world is that the people who are encountering, okay, to use marketing language,
Yep.
encountering your brand
Yep.
on the AI. So yeah, and I choke a little bit saying that, because I am like this, I am an old school, like, confessional Protestant
Yep.
guy, but when they encounter your brand, it's actually some of the most high value exposure you will get.
Yep.
And the people who end up coming your way via AI have just a super high level of commitment to you already.
Oh yeah.
Someone who hits your website, they're probably a little bit more like still trying to figure things out, right? But if someone has come to you via AI, that's been through a process, just like you talked about, a
Yep.
process where he didn't accidentally get to you guys. This was through a process of conversation with AI
Yep.
to get to you guys. So it's
Yep.
super high intention. And my experience lately, and I think that this is pretty universal at this point, is that anybody who shows up in our churches these days, a local person, that's really the last check-in. That's the last 10% to make sure
Yeah. I
that
was gonna say that. Yeah.
we're not crazy.
Yep.
Literally almost everybody locally who shows up at the end of the service, they say, okay, I want to be a member now. Oh, did they get to that point? They got to that point via exploring us online, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
also just through our reputation generally in the community. But the online component is a big part of that. And then the last 10% to get them over the edge is that final visit. And
Yeah.
I think that actually with AI, it's going to be even more. It's like they're probably going to be like 95% of the way there, 98% of the way there. And the final visit is just the last 2% to get them over the edge to affiliating
Yeah.
with your congregation.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say it's been crazy. Back in 2000, 2010, 2020, even, like, people would, like, your website was like, oh, you want people to hit your website, just check out your beliefs maybe, or whatever. Okay, service times. Where do my frequent? We have an FAQ. What do I do with my kids? What's the service like? What can I wear? Yeah, and they show up, and then you hopefully get them in, and then you're like, hey, I encourage you to keep coming back. Like, I had an old pastor once told me, hey, I tell every visitor, you really got to be here for 4 straight Sundays to figure out like what the church is about. So that was like old school, but now yeah, like literally everybody who walks into the church, like, oh yeah, I've been listening to your sermons for X number of months. They know every like elder and deacon in the church. So there's a little profile about each one on the website. They know when the men's group meets, like where the Sunday school classes. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like, man, you've done a lot of research. I think a lot of the like kind of cultural like cynicism and people's like, you know, cooped up during COVID, not, you know, and they come out like and the lack of trust, like in the government, in supposed like experts and whatever. It's made people on the one hand like negative, cynical, like skittish, whatever. But the positive side I'm finding now is like it makes people do their own research and their own investigation. They're not just listening to some radio ad about come to my church. They're like, no, I'm gonna listen to your sermons first. I'm gonna watch your liturgy or whatever online just to see if it's normal and you guys aren't slaying goats and whatever. Yeah, and they show up and it's like they're just ready, right? And they're ready to dive in. So we've had that a lot lately. It's been really interesting. Yeah, and I would say for what I would consider like us, like normal, like old school pastors, like we've had a lot of people come with a lot of like church trauma, church hurt, whatever you want to call it. You know, they've been burned by various like evangelical churches, and they find out about confessions, creeds, a liturgy, like things that we would consider normal. Like we don't really think much about them. They're there, but they're assumptions for us. But for a lot of people, they're finding our kinds of churches because they can see the whole service online. They can listen to sermons. They can read about us as individual pastors. Our bios are online, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, so we've been like going through our website, even just existing pages, and just making sure there's one H1, there's one header. Everything else is an H2 level header, like subhead, and there's like maybe an H3, but most of it's just the one H1. One big header on every page about us, and then subheader header 2, Apostles' Creed, the shorter catechism, the Luther Small Catechism, Augsburg Confession, for us Heidelberg Catechism, and then some explanation, like because that's what AI is doing. It's scanning for those ordered, structured pages. And the more ordered and structured and with keywords, like not too, you don't want to make it obvious that you're trying to fish, but it's looking for that key information. So that when a person does type in Lutheran church near me or Reformed church near me, or, hey, what does Lutheran church believe about X, or Reformed churches believe about Y, your church all of a sudden is popping up in the search results. And it's like, you're the source for their information because it's just formatted correctly. It's crazy.
Formatted correctly. And then on a domain that has at least a little bit of authority, which you're doing a really good job at in terms of building the links and so on. I see that you're sitting at a DR30, which is really almost as strong as I see for any church. So for the uninitiated, DR domain rating, it's a measure of domain power by a company called Ahrefs. Basically, the more links you get from another website to your website, the stronger your domain gets and the more authoritative you get. And these are things where you yourself may not be seeing the benefits, but somebody else may, right? So the person searching for whatever topic landing on your site, they may be across the country, but maybe now they have exposure to a United Reformed Church. And now maybe a United Reformed Church where they're at is being blessed because maybe they get a visitor. It all kind of works together. One thing I wanted to hit on is that when it comes to the SEO, one thing that you mentioned is that as pastors, we have really limited resources, right? I don't have a staff. It's just me. I'm being pulled in all kinds of different directions, right? And so when it comes to digital marketing, the nice thing about SEO compared to other forms of digital marketing is that it is more of a cumulative effort. Social, you should be doing social ideally, but it's just this constant grind. You gotta keep getting new stuff out. Whereas SEO, what you've done 10 years ago can still benefit you today. And that Christmas page you have, that Easter page you have, if you keep things dialed in there and don't do something dumb, delete it or change the URL or something like that, you're probably going to even outrank the big mega churches in your area when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Anyways, it's like I think when we started doing this, like a few guys in the congregation like are helping, and We just like literally went on ChatGPT, Claude, and or even just Google and just typed in, "Hey, you're the SEO expert on web design, searchability, and this and that. To audit this web page. Be honest, be brutal. Tell us all the things that are wrong with our website, and then give us like suggestions." And so it's a huge list.
Yeah.
And you do it from a couple of different sources, you're going to get a little tweak here, a little bit difference there. But then you have that as a reference point, and then basically just if you're like a small church pastor, it's you, maybe some volunteer. Just think of it as a long-term, honestly, like a 1-year plan of, hey, we have this huge. I printed out this gigantic PDF that ChatGPT gave me or Claude gave me, whatever, how to fix my website, how to make it better, and then just peck away like one little thing a week. Hey,
Yep.
fix this page so that it's more prominent, or add more pictures here, but add like alt text. Like what is alt text? So it takes a while to learn. There's definitely a learning curve, but yeah, like you said, it's like a cumulative effect. It's like, and a lot of it's unseen, but it's like over time, that's what's going to help. And I think I've seen you say the number one thing is not your Facebook page, your Twitter, whatever. It's like your Google business profile. And so that's what I've been telling like pastor friends is just, hey, I noticed that your Google business profile for your church, like you have one picture from 3 years ago and you have two reviews. So I've been saying, hey, you're in my boat. We're both small church pastors. It's just us, our wives, and maybe like a volunteer too. Hey, do this. Just have someone, either you or have a couple of people in church every Sunday use their iPhone and just take a few pictures, like the building, the sunset, the view, whatever. It could be anything. The sign this week, Sunday, you have a sign out, like an old school sign with a title on it for your sermon or whatever. Take a picture of, hey, don't be afraid to take a picture of me on the service or whatever. And give me those pictures. And we're going to post like once a week, post a couple new pictures. And then once a week, this is what I do. Once a week, Friday or Saturday, usually, I post like on the little update link on tab on Google business profile. Sunday's coming. That's my title. Sunday's coming. Here's the service information for Sunday. But you change every week, it's different. And then at the bottom, click learn more, and it goes to the link to your site. Every week I do that. It's very like, it's tedious sometimes. I forget about it. I put reminders, but every week, just like peck away. And then you'll start getting that monthly report on how many people visited your site, how many people hit up your business profile, how many people called you, how many people linked through to your website. And you just start to see like over time, wow, like this month, 10 people, next month, it's 100. Like all of a sudden you're like in the hundreds a month. And then all of a sudden the next month, you're like, oh, you went down by, you had 100 less visitors this month. A year ago, I only had 10.
Yeah.
Now I'm like in the negative 100, meaning I still had a couple hundred people visit my profile. Wow, I've grown a lot. So I tell people to do one thing really well, which is your profile on Google Business, right?
It's so easy compared to everything else.
It's awesome.
It's way easier than social. It's way easier than your website.
I think I heard you say once, you're like, hey, treat it like a blog. And when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's so true, because you can pretty much use that update tab and you can, let's say once a week, you just post the Sunday coming information, and then maybe you step up and do twice a week. And all of a sudden the second time a week, you're posting on some rotating basis, like just the key pages on your website, like the About Us page, the directions page. If you have some kind of Bible study for a certain kind of group page, and then let's say 5 or 6 or 8 different pages on your website over the course of 2 months, every 2 months, one of those pages is getting reposted with a little bit of new information. You're just constantly putting it out there, and people are always searching. That's the thing. They're always searching, especially on their phones, right? Everyone's on their phone.
I do want to talk a little bit about how maybe we can, just a thought about how you can take some of the burden off of yourself for the regular activity on your Google business profile. Well, before we do that, I actually do want to give a little plug here. So you talked about doing one thing at a time, like one thing a week. I do run a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, the Church SEO Shape Up. I do that for you. I have basically, if you sign up for that at churchseo.io/newsletter, I'm going to send you one email a week that's going to give you one thing to do each week for a year. And if you follow that, you're going to be golden. You're going to be like literally the best church in your community when it comes to SEO. All right, When I induced you to come on here, I promised you that I had some ideas to help you out with everything that you're up to. Let me ask you a question real quick. So when you're posting, I saw that you're posting your sermons on your Squarespace site. What are you using to post that? Are you using their blog or slash CMS feature, or are you using Pages? What are you doing for that?
Oh, you mean like the text, like the sermon text, like the like Roman series, or like how to
Yeah, I
recategory?
was looking at your First Peter
Okay.
series. Yeah, how are
Yeah.
you doing?
Okay. Number one, that was part of my church audit that we did on when you just post a YouTube, even like an embedded video, you're basically getting nothing out of that because
Correct.
it doesn't search videos, right? So it's
It
like,
does, but it's very
yeah,
expensive.
yeah,
Since text on the screen is very
yeah.
inexpensive for
And
a
one of the
search, right?
yeah, one of the feedbacks I got was like, hey, like the big guy, like evangelical, well-known John MacArthur, right? Every one of his sermons, you have the video, the audio, and the text.
Yep.
And so the feedback to me, the quote unquote, and just people say AI, I would say it's neither artificial nor it's intelligence. It's just a person. It's people who have fed a computer program, right? It's a machine. Like we're talking about non-sentient artificial here. This is just a robot, but it's been coded by a human being or beings, right? Anyways, but yeah, it said, hey, you've been doing this for 25 years. You have basically thousands of sermons. You have a library of information that, and it even said this is not going to be like an instant boost to your searchability and your score, but this is going to be over the course of time. If you keep posting your sermon text along with on the same page as the embedded video and a link to the video and the audio, that's going to over time just be golden, right? It's going to be searchable. And
Oh yes, yeah.
so okay, so that's the good. The bad news is it's just manual. What's the fastest way to do that? What's the best way to do that to get it all? Other than I have to dump the actual text into a page and have to format it. Is there a way to automate that?
Okay, so a few thoughts about that. First of all, I guess where are you getting your text from? How are
That's
you
just yeah. That's not transcribed from YouTube videos or anything. That's actual manuscripts that I write.
Okay, so you write a full manuscript.
I do, yeah, and
Okay.
it's formatted fairly well. And I don't
Yep.
want to like, I'm not going to strip off the transcript from YouTube or sermonaudio.com or whatever. It's a mess, right? There's too many pauses, too many too many, it
Yeah.
just manuscript is nice and clean.
It
So
is. I actually don't preach from a manuscript, so
okay,
I do pull the audio,
you have
but
to then, yeah.
yeah, but I find that Grok is really good at
Oh, okay,
cleaning it up. It's the best one for cleaning it up because
okay,
Grok is not safe, right? And so it
yeah,
doesn't try to take out anything controversial or
okay,
sensitive or whatever. So that's what I do. So I have a point to this.
okay,
So going back to how you're posting these, are
yeah.
you using Squarespace's, are you using their pages, or are you using their blog slash
Oh
content
yeah.
management system feature?
So yeah, because that one is on. So that one's is blog.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that one's blog. Yep.
Okay, all right, so that's perfect.
The
That's exactly
tag
what you should be
categories, all
doing.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Here's just a thought for you on a way that you can stimulate your Google business profile without you having to. I guess I'm always looking to see, like, how can I have one thing do multiple things at once?
Yeah.
Okay. So every my so I was looking into this, and every Squarespace blog or CMS collection has a feed associated with it. So if you can
Oh,
figure out
okay.
what that feed is, and
Yep.
remember RSS back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
No, yeah,
day?
totally. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that still exists.
Yep,
Okay.
it
It's
does.
just that nobody uses it. All right. But I use it. And what I have done, I'm going to actually share my screen here. I'm going to show you what I've been up to. I'm going to ask you a quick favor. Can you leave a comment down below? Even something as simple as SEO will help. Can you see my screen here? It's got this crazy
Yep.
looking
Yep.
graph and whatever. Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually show you my Google business profile here. So St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Door County. My Google business
Yep.
profile is over here on the right. Okay. So you can see I've got updates there, just like
Yep.
you do, including a bunch that say this is a test. This is because I just changed
Okay.
up how I've been managing this. So I've been trying to dial this in. Okay. But basically, what I have done, I've used an application called Make. All right. The two applications that are common are that do this sort of automation stuff is Make on the one hand or Zapier on the other. They each have their advantages. So Zapier is more user friendly. Zapier is definitely more the established solution. The downside of Zapier is that it's not overly generous when it comes to their free level, and
Oh, okay.
once again, limited resources in
Yep.
a smaller church. I'm always looking for the free thing as best as I can. Okay, so I had been doing some of this via, I think I had been doing it via Zapier. I forget exactly. No, I've been using a different solution which I didn't like ultimately. So what I am now using is Make, and
Okay.
so you can set up, what do they call them? They call them scenarios. Okay. So basically, I have a scenario set up in Make where I think 3 times a day, it's going to check the RSS feed
Okay.
where I post stuff on my website. Okay.
Okay.
So 3 times a day, it's going to check that. Then it's going to go into a text parser. So it's going to figure out what fields are there so that it can then push those fields out to all these other solutions. Okay. Let's see here. I can't remember what. Oh, okay. So this then is so RSS only has limited amount of information. All right. The RSS is the trigger to let Make know that it needs to do this, run the scenario. Then it actually goes back to my website and it
Yep.
pulls all the other information that's not available there on RSS. So for example, my image that you saw, like I've got these images and that
Yep.
sort of thing. That's how all that kind of gets on there. All right. And then once we do that, it goes to a router. So then it kicks the information out to
Yep.
Facebook, my Google business profile, and the LinkedIn for the church. I should have an Instagram, but I don't have an Instagram for the church. But it kicks it all out to that. So basically, I'm only posting my sermons or any other blog post on the website, and then it kicks it out to these properties just automatically. I don't have to do anything, and it gets all formatted pretty nicely that
Oh,
way.
cool. And then how do
So
you
it
where do you post your sermons on your website, church website?
Yeah, so I use WordPress.
Okay.
So I basically go into WordPress and same thing. I use a post, which is their
Yep.
blog slash
Yep.
CMS feature, and I post it on WordPress. And once again, 3 times a day, it checks
Looking,
that
yeah.
and then it sends that all out,
Okay.
basically. Really simple way to keep stimulating my social
Yep.
platforms and Google
Okay.
Business Profile. So something to think about.
On the
Uh,
Google business profile, what does it look? Show me one example. What does it look like when it posts a quote unquote sermon on Google business profile?
yeah, so let me find one that's not a test post
Yeah,
here.
I'm just curious. What does it look like?
All right, so there you go. So I've got
Oh,
it
okay.
set
So it's
up.
like a preview. It's a preview.
Yep.
Oh,
So
awesome. Okay.
and so then yeah, same thing. You just click learn more and it takes you out to the sermon
Okay.
itself, basically.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay.
So it gives you a little snippet and then you can click through. Got it.
Correct. Correct. Yep. And so it's a
Okay.
really nice little feature there.
How
And that
like how soon after Sundays do you post those onto the website? Never. Like a long time.
so it depends.
I'm doing old stuff right now. Yeah, I'm not even
I
caught up
might
yet.
go a few weeks without posting anything just because
Yeah.
once again my time is limited.
Yep.
But
Yep.
especially if I'm like, oh, that was a banger sermon, I'll
Yeah, yeah.
definitely get it up.
The key is that you have some material. It does, yeah. And over time, it's going to grow, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
I'm the same. I just started doing old series because I have them all collected up. So I'm just like, I'm going to do an old series on, yeah, Peter, or what I put a Titus is really small. I'm doing a Heidelberg Catechism one because it's theological and doctrinal, and people are always searching for, at
Yep.
some point, I'll catch up on my Romans,
Yeah.
and I'll have a whole Romans thing on there, like 100 sermons at some point.
Yeah. So it's just because I am not one that I want to always be sitting on social, always be sitting on my Google business profile. Whatever I can do to just automate, I'm
Yep.
always looking
Yep.
for that. Yeah. I have one
Cool.
additional thought for you.
Yeah.
So anyways, one thing that I ended up doing as well using is I actually coded a WordPress plugin that excludes various posts from the RSS feed, because I started putting up posts on the website that I didn't want showing up on social, because they're a little bit, I don't know what the best word term is, insidious maybe in a way.
Nah.
So on X, you mentioned to me in chat, and I don't think you'll mind me saying this, like you're tired of like the big non-denom evangelical church is always winning, and you want to punch up, and I feel the same way. So anyways, let me show you a new church, a post that I tried out. We'll see if this works. This is an experiment, and
Yeah.
I would like to see if this experiment might work for you as well. So I actually posted, and I didn't want this showing up on my Google Business profile
Okay. Okay.
or on my Facebook page. So that's why I did the WordPress plugin. So non-denominational churches in Door County, 3 options plus 1 to consider. Okay. So, then I list out the non-denominational churches, right?
Okay.
Okay, there. And then finally, what about other churches? And oh, okay. Have you considered St. Peter's Lutheran
Yeah.
Church, right? So this is actually something that, in the broader digital marketing world, people do all the time.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
This is something that people do. So, my hope is that Google picks this up, and
Yeah.
that this article will end up on page 1 of Google for like the query non-denominational churches in Door County, right?
And all of a sudden they
Uh,
pop up and reading about Lutherans. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of a bait and switch there. And so my plan is to do this for other theological
Yep.
families as well, and just a little way to maybe peel off a little bit of attention, a little bit of interest, right? And maybe expose people, give people something to think about
Yeah.
a little bit as they are considering
Is that page on the site or is it a hidden page that
No,
is
no,
there?
it's
It
literally
is.
on. It's
Okay.
literally on. Yeah, so I have a feature where all my posts
Oh, got
show
it.
up on
Okay.
the homepage. That's a
Okay.
good little. If you can, I don't know if you can do that with a widget on Squarespace, but basically having, you can see my test post where I was
Yep.
testing for the sake of the automation stuff. But yeah, so that's a little SEO hint that so your homepage is your most powerful page on your site. If you can have something like your most recent posts on your homepage,
Okay.
it's going to give them a nice little boost for the
Yep.
sake of indexing, and then for the sake of power. And eventually they roll off the homepage, but
Yep.
it's a
Cool.
nice little trick you can do for the sake of that. So no, it's a regular post on the site. I just didn't want it going out on social,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. Like some grandma, Pastor Chris, what is this?
Yeah.
Advertising non-denominational churches? Yeah.
Cool.
Have we talked about plural search, by the way?
What's that? No.
Have we not talked about that? Okay. So yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Okay. So here's another little hint for you. Okay. Most searches for churches is in the plural, right?
Oh, okay.
So people don't usually search for church in Oceanside. They search
Chiz. Yep.
churches in Oceanside. Okay. And so something that I do is I optimize for plural search.
Oh, okay.
Lawyers do this all the time. Have you ever noticed that, like, if you ever like Google for a lawyer, it's all like whatever shows up is
The
usually
law
plural.
offices.
Even if there's only one lawyer there, they're attorneys at law. They are
Yeah. The law offices.
lawyers,
Yeah.
law
Yeah.
offices. There's a reason for that. Okay. So optimizing for plural search is a
Oh, okay.
major unlock. So let me show you how I've done this. So, and then I do this for all my client sites. This is the meta title format that I really like. So like Door County, Wisconsin church. And then so basically if you lead with your keyword, that is like a major ranking factor, then I'll do pipe and then like the name of the church. And then I'll do pipe and the Door County church is. All
Oh,
right.
okay.
And one thing that I've noticed with client sites is actually like in the results, Google will actually switch this around. And even though I put the plural last,
Oh, okay.
like if I look for up like a client in, I don't know, Cedar Falls, Iowa, like Cedar Falls, Iowa church is, it'll actually put that last part first, even though you listed it last. Okay. Because they know that's like what you're searching for. All right. So then the other thing to help make you show up better, down at the bottom of almost every client page that I do and in my own website, I'll have just generic ChatGPT generated schlock about the important role that churches play in whatever community that is. I've got an H2 header here.
Okay.
Churches in Door County. And I'll do that for whatever client community it is. Churches in Cedar Falls, churches in Springfield, Missouri, or whatever it is. Okay. And then just some generic discussion about the important role that churches play in the community. And clients get a little sensitive about this. They're like, why are we advertising churches in general? I'll say, look, this is actually one of the most powerful sections on your entire website is that paragraph right there. In any case, that's just a little hint for you and your SEO as well.
Now, I'm just curious about that. I've heard people say, oh, that's spammy, and Google, whatever, will ding you for it because it's spammy, whatever.
No,
it's intentional phishing, I think.
I am the biggest over optimizer ever. I literally don't care. No, it does not. If you're replicating this stuff over thousands of pages, maybe like people don't understand when we talk about spam, we're talking about 3, 4, 5,000 page websites. We're not talking about little church in Oceanside, California. No, this is I probably fall a little bit too far on the line with over optimizing, but that's what I do.
But as far as it's like, it doesn't actually hinder.
All my stuff, literally all the stuff that I do for my clients, for myself, even with the over optimizer that I am, usually we're punching far above our weight.
Okay. Cool.
In terms of our results.
Cool.
So speaking of plural search, let me ask you, do you have a contextual link on your homepage to your homepage anywhere?
I think it is. I think it's at the very bottom, no? Like on here, just keep scrolling down. I thought it was like at the bottom on Oceanside URC. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
that's pretty sure that's it.
All right, so now you got the word Oceanside in there, and that's actually because it's in your footer that's showing up on every single page. All right, so that's good.
Yep.
That's a nice little thing. The one you might want to, if you're adding that section, if your committee is good with this or whatever, on generic churches in Oceanside there, so adding a link on the plural term.
Okay.
I've got Door County churches.
Yep.
I need to adjust my hover color, but that just literally goes back to the homepage.
Yep. Okay.
On Door County churches. So just
nice.
A little, spammy. Have no problem with it whatsoever. And because here's the thing, people get really sensitive and precious about their websites and I don't want to have all this SEO text and whatever, but here's the thing, and none of that matters if nobody finds your site.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got this really nice looking site and it's maybe really clean, it's all image based and not a lot of text and whatever, but that's wonderful, but that's a vanity project. Nobody's actually gonna find that.
No, I've noticed that. Again, we audited our site and then I put into the chat, it was like, compare our church in terms of SEO and searchability and so forth to the 5 biggest churches in our area, kind of thing. And I gave a couple examples which I won't name, but it's interesting. It came back and was like, oh yeah, you're doing way better than these guys.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like,
so here's
lots of pictures, lots of embedded videos, but there's no H1, there's no, like, it was like, there was like not clear. It just was less searchable, and there was like less things about the things that I was looking for, and it said, you're doing better than these guys, keep it up, kind of thing. It's like, all right.
So here's kind of the secret, the dirty little secret about websites and so on right now is that probably one of the worst things you could do is to have a high design website. So churches will they'll pay $10,000, $20,000 for a high design website, right? And the high design websites are always the worst when it comes to SEO, because you'll get the best looking website out there for sure, but designers are good at what they do, which is having something look good. But the dirty little secret is that it doesn't really matter anymore as much. I mean, you want your website to look clean, you want it to look presentable, right? But 90% of our traffic is coming on mobile. And as long as it looks clean, almost every website looks exactly the same on mobile. It's just such a small screen, right? Yeah. Trying to project an image, once again, it's a vanity thing versus to me, SEO is really boils down to service, right? Because people are looking for answers. They are looking for resources. They're looking for churches. So you doing what it takes to show up, to me, it's one of the reasons why I'm excited about SEO, is because you're completely aligned with the searcher. You're not trying to grab a sliver of attention when people are trying to do something else or whatever. You are fulfilling an actually identified need in that moment, in a time when they are most receptive to you. Danny, it's been about an hour here, so I appreciate the time, and let's stay in touch.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate you.
All right. God bless.
Thanks.
If you want to start working on your church's search engine optimization, I've got a free checklist at churchseo.io/checklist. It's going to walk you through the basics of search engine optimization for your church. If you follow it, your SEO will improve.